How's it going, everybody? My name is LuckyBunz, and in today's video we're going to be breaking down all the events for the month of May in Pokemon Go. With that being said, let's jump straight into it. So first up, let's go over the current season bonuses. This is going to be the last month with the current season bonuses, guys, so we're going to get 2 free raid passes every single day. We're going to have increased experience from 1 and 3-star raids, 5-star and mega raids are not included, and then we're also going to get increased damage when we raid with our friends. Now next season I am hoping that we get the guaranteed extra large candy back from trades. That would be super awesome, but we'll have to wait and see. Moving on, let's talk about the Shadow Legendary Pokemon featured during this month. We'll start off with Giovanni's featured Pokemon, which is going to be Shadow Groudon. This was released during the end of March, and I don't think we're going to get a new Shadow Legendary, I believe, until the start of June. That sounds about right. Now if you guys want to know how good Shadow Groudon is in the game, then check out this video right here in the top right hand corner. This video is going to include a full analysis as well as how you should go about stacking your Super Rocket Radars. As always, if you have any additional questions, let me know in the comment section down below. But now let's talk about the Shadow Legendary that's going to be featured in Shadow Legendary raids. So as expected, the final Shadow Legendary in this rotation is going to be Suicune. Now unlike the other Shadow Legendaries that we've gotten over the past 2 months, specifically Shadow Raikou and Shadow Entei, Suicune doesn't really have that much meta relevance or really any meta relevance. You can definitely build a new Shadow Suicune in the Open Ultra League, but it's more of a spice option. I don't really think it's that meta or anything, at least to my knowledge. If you guys disagree, let me know in the comment section down below what makes Suicune actually really good in PvP. I know it did get buffed like a season or 2 ago, so it is better than it was before, but I don't think it's really like meta relevant, if that makes sense. In my opinion, the only reason to really raid this is for the potential Shadow Shiny. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot more trouble than it's worth, given that Suicune is the toughest of the 3 legendary beasts. Now, one thing I didn't really expect to talk about during this month is that we're going to be getting a special research quest for Diancie. So this special research quest is going to be given to all trainers on May 1st at 10 AM local time. That is ultimately going to award the mythical Pokemon Diancie. Now if you guys actually got the GoFest ticket last summer, you won't be able to get another Diancie, you're just going to get candy for it, but you can still complete the special research quest. Now for those unfamiliar, this is pretty normal, so don't feel like you were cheated out of a second Diancie. I know some people have been kind of making those comments, and it doesn't really work like that. Like, we've had the same thing happen for Shaman, for Celebi, for Jirachi. It's pretty normal. Now regarding Diancie, when it actually is Mega Evolved, it's one of the best rock type attackers in the game, but I will say that Mega Tyranitar is a lot more accessible when it comes down to powering it up to level 50. Even Shadow Rhyperior and Shadow Rampardos would be a bit easier to power up compared to Mega Diancie, and those would even require even more extra large candy to level 50. Now the reason why Diancie is so difficult to power up to level 50 is because you need extra large rare candy, which is a really difficult resource to get. So honestly, when it comes down to it, Diancie is really cool and all, but if you guys want a top rock type attacker, it would be a lot easier to just go with Mega Tyranitar. Otherwise, your Diancie will get capped around level 40 due to lack of resources. Next up, let's go over the research breakthrough. This will be the final month featuring these Pokemon specifically, and I don't think it's going to change that much, but we'll probably get a slight adjustment next month. So those Pokemon are going to be Sneasel, Furfrou, Goomy, Sandygast, Jangmo-O, and Dubwool. Now with all that being said, guys, it's time we move on over to the Legendary Raid Pokemon. Shiny forms are going to be available for every single one of these Pokemon except for the last 2 Ultra Beasts, which are going to be new Pokemon. The rotation cycle is going to be from 10 AM to 10 AM local time, and the first Pokemon is going to continue over from April, and that's going to be Registeel. If you guys have not got yourself a Registeel, this is currently one of the top Pokemon to use in Open Great League as well as Open Ultra League right now. Now the only downside to Registeel is that you're going to need the legacy move Zap Cannon on it, which it's not going to have during this raid rotation, so you're going to have to give it an Elite Charge TM if you want to get it. But I will say it's not worth giving it to the Registeel unless you actually trade with somebody else to get better PvP IVs, because you ideally want to have low attack plus high defense and high stamina, but the floor when you catch it from raid battles is going to be 10-10-10, so that's like the lowest possible IV spread you guys can get, and ideally I guess the best one for PvP would be like 10-15-15, but you want to try and roll a lot lower on the attack. If you trade with the best friend, I believe you can get as low as like 4 attack, which is pretty damn good. Actually, I take that back, I think it might be 5 attack, which again is still a lot better than a 10 attack. If you end up going through all the hoops to get a really good IV spread on your Registeel though, it is 100% worth giving it Zap Cannon. And for some reason, I feel like I didn't include the dates, so Registeel is going to be available until May 2nd, so you guys are only going to have 2 days into May to actually get it if you haven't gotten it already. Now following Registeel, we're going to have Tapu Fini available from May 2nd to May 16th. This is currently one of the best Pokemon as well for the Open Ultra League in PvP, and similar to the other Tapus that we've gotten so far, this one's also going to be getting access to Nature's Madness, which I would imagine is going to be an upgrade to Moonblast. Now if you guys want to run it for the Ultra League, you will ideally need to trade it as well with somebody else in order to get ideal PvP IVs. We just talked about this with Registeel, so you guys basically get the idea here. Now you don't have to do this, like this is totally optional, but in my opinion, if you're going to invest into a legendary Pokemon for PvP, especially in the Great League and the Ultra League, you want to make sure that it's the right one. Now if that wasn't enough Pokemon for PvP, guys, we have another one upcoming coming as well. That's going to be Regirock from May 16th to May 23rd. Now, unlike Registeel, there are no exclusive moves required for Regirock, which is a little bit nicer, but you basically have to do the same thing that you're going to do with Registeel and Tapu Fini. You have to trade with somebody else in order to get better IVs or PvP, so all three of these Pokemon are going to be a little bit of a hurdle in that aspect, but again, if you're going to invest into one of these legendary Pokemon, you pretty much have to go through this route. Now finally, our last two Pokemon for this month are going to be two new Ultra Beasts, and I have no idea how to pronounce these names. Please help me in the comment section down below because I'm going to butcher them right now. So from May 23rd to June 1st in the Western Hemisphere, we are going to have Blasphalon, I think that's how you say it. I'm not too familiar again with these Ultra Beasts, but after doing some research, this one specifically is really meta relevant in the Fire type category as well as the Ghost type category. It's basically like an upgraded Chandelure, to be honest, which is kind of cool. Now, like I mentioned earlier, guys, the shiny forms are not going to be available on either of these Pokemon, so it does kind of suck. Like, I wouldn't recommend going hard for them right now. Wait until their shiny forms come into rotation, and that's typically the time when you want to start rating hard for these Pokemon. So yeah, right now I would maybe get like one or two just to have them, but you know, outside of that, I don't think it's really worth going hard just yet. Now in the Eastern Hemisphere, from the same time period, we're going to have Stakataka, and in terms of this one, it's more of a rock type Pokemon, but it really sucks compared to the overall meta right now, so I really don't think this Pokemon is going to be used that much. Maybe in PvP, like I think that's the only place where it would actually be utilized, although it is too early to tell how good it's going to end up being, since PvPoke has not updated that information on their website yet. In the future, at some point, I do hope that somebody does come back to this video and comments and lets us know if this is actually good in PvP, because I am curious as well, but as of right now, we're a little bit unsure. So legendary Pokemon out of the way, let's take a look at our Mega Pokemon now. So shiny forms are going to be available for every single one of these Mega Pokemon, which is always really cool. Although we don't really have the best Mega lineup right now, let me just go over it though. So we are going to have Mega Aggron continuing its rotation until May 2nd. Now for some reason, Mega Aggron is only a Steel type. It actually loses its dual typing when it Mega evolves, which is really weird. So for this reason alone, it's not nearly as good as Mega Steelix because that Pokemon benefits from two typings, whereas Mega Aggron only benefits from one. In terms of meta relevance though, there isn't really that much for Mega Aggron anyway, so if you guys already have enough energy for at least one, that's basically all that you need. Next up, we have Mega Alakazam from May 2nd to May 16th, and I really don't have much to say about this Pokemon, guys. Like, yeah, you can definitely get the energy just to have at least one, but really outside of that, it's just not meta relevant. So yeah, that's the end of Mega Alakazam, I'm sorry. If you really want to build one, you can totally go ahead and do that, I just don't recommend it. We do actually have a better Mega Evolution coming up next, so that's going to be Mega Gyarados from May 16th to May 23rd. In terms of viable Mega Pokemon, this one does fall below Primal Kyogre and Mega Swampert in the Water type category for the Raid Sauce Gym meta, and it also falls below Mega Tyranitar and Mega Houndoom in the Dark type category. So it's not like great, but it doesn't mean that Mega Gyarados is actually bad. It's actually a pretty good Pokemon. Even if you don't use it for battle, the typing bonuses are fantastic since it covers both Dark and Water types. So if you don't have enough energy to Mega Evolve this for the first time, definitely make sure to do a few raids during this rotation, and yeah, you should be pretty solid. It's a little bit more expensive than most of the Mega Pokemon, so you're going to need to do at least 2 raids most likely. Now finally, our last Pokemon in the Mega rotation is going to be Mega Pidgeot from May 23rd to June 1st. Now if you guys don't have Mega Rayquaza, then this is going to be your next best option for a flying type Mega, and it's actually really budget too. Now you should be able to get to Mega level 3 really easily on this Pokemon because it doesn't actually require that much energy to Mega Evolve, even between cooldowns. On top of that, if you actually level 50 your Pidgeot, you can also run it in the Open Ultra League, which is pretty cool, so dual functionality right there. And Pidgeot also benefits from 2 typings, Normal and Flying, which is a great combo to use during certain events when you're going to be candy grinding. Now as always, guys, I'd like to go through some general information regarding the Mega system just for any newer returning players watching this. So first of all, you only need to evolve them once before getting access to their cooldown period moving forward. You're also going to get more extra large candy when your Mega Pokemon gets to level 3, which is unlocked after 30 days of Mega Evolution. Additionally, on top of that, when you complete these Mega Raids, you're going to get guaranteed charge TMs. So my recommendation is always to do at least 1 to 2 raids, get the initial energy, and then get the free charge TMs as well. So my recommendation is always to do at least 1 to 2 raids, get the initial energy that you need, and that's basically about it. Now finally, to wrap things up for the raid section, let's go over Raid Hour, which is going to take place every Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. local time. Whichever Pokemon is currently in rotation is going to be the one featured that Wednesday. So for example, we're going to have Registeel on May 1st, Tapu Fini on May 8th and May 15th, Regirock on May 22nd, and then the last 2 Ultra Beasts that I can't pronounce on May 29th. Next up, let's go over the upcoming events for this month. The event windows are going to be based on your local time, so just keep that in mind. So first up, we're going to have Go Battle Weekend from May 4th to May 5th. This is going to be an all-day event. Now typically the best bonus here is going to be the elite charge TMs that you get. It doesn't mention anything on here, but it's almost guaranteed, guys. Like typically when we have Go Battle days or Go Battle weekends, there is a special research, a timed research that will award award you an Elite TM, make sure that you do at least that. Even if you don't like GPL, guys, it is such a wasted opportunity to not go and get that Elite TM. You're also going to be getting 4x Stardust from the Win Rewards, which is definitely one of the best ways to get Stardust in the game. Like, during these events, guys, it is so easy to farm a bunch of Stardust, and you don't even have to be playing seriously. Like, I never really take them seriously anymore, and I accumulate so much Stardust during these events. I always advocate for it, but I know some of you guys really don't like PvP. If you can just, you know, get through it, trust me, it is going to be so worth it, because you're going to be so happy that you have all that Stardust by the end of it. Speaking of PvP themed events though, we do have Rivals Week as well, which is going to be taking place during the same time from May 4th to May 9th. Basically, as you can expect, it's going to be featuring PvP Pokemon, so if you guys don't have that many built for PvP, this is going to be a good event to get some really nice ones. I would recommend checking out some of the other PvP channels though, as they do go over this stuff a little bit more in detail. On May 11th, we're going to have the Flock Together Research Day. I really don't know what that implies. Maybe it's like a flying type event or like a bird type event. That's what it's kind of hinting at in my opinion. From May 14th to May 19th, we're going to have the Catching Wonders event, so kind of on theme with the overall season. I don't know if this is going to feature more Alola Pokemon or maybe some Ultra Beasts or something like that. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. Now on May 19th, we're going to have our monthly Calm Day, which has not been announced yet, and then on May 26th, we're also going to have an Incense Day, which has also not been announced yet. So 2 unannounced events towards the end of the month there. They could end up being really good, or they could end up being really mid. We'll have to wait and see. And then finally, our last event is going to take place from May 23rd to May 28th, and that's going to be the Ultra Space Wonders event, which I do have higher expectations for, because that's going to be the last event for the end of the season. Typically, those events are a little bit better, so yeah. Now, as always, guys, it's finally time to wrap up this video with the Spotlight Hours. So these are going to take place every Tuesday from 6 to 7 p.m. local time. Shiny forms are going to be available for every single Pokemon except for Marini, I believe, so keep that in mind as we're going through them. The first Spotlight Hour is going to take place on May 7th. It's going to feature the Pokemon Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee, and the special bonus is going to be 2x Transfer Candy. Now, these two aren't really good for anything. Like, maybe you can use them in the Great League if you really want to, but I just think they're way too glassy. So what I would do to take advantage of this bonus is that I would create a search tag, group together all of your rare Pokemon and extra legendaries leading up to this event, and then bonus points if you can mirror trade them with someone beforehand, so you get even more candy. Next up, we got Abra on May 14th, which is going to have the featured bonus 2x Evolve experience. Now, if you guys really want to build that Mega Alakazam and take it to level 50, this is going to be your event to grind. Otherwise, it's a pretty easy skip. Alakazam isn't that meta relevant compared to Mewtwo, so take that for what you will, but if you really love Mega Alakazam because it's a really sick Mega, then by all means, this is your event to grind, guys. Now on May 21st, we're going to have the featured Pokemon LGM with the special bonus being 2x Catch Stardust. This Pokemon isn't really that great for anything, unless I'm missing something here, and while the 2x Catch Stardust bonus is nice, I don't think it's actually worth using start pieces on. That is just my take as a free-to-play player though. I just think there are more beneficial times to use them, like Calm Days or 3x Catch Stardust, or at the end of a GBL season, which is upcoming. And then finally, our last Pokemon is going to be featured on May 28th. That's going to be Marini with the special bonus being 2x Catch Experience. This Pokemon, actually when evolved to Toxapex, is really good in the Open Great League, and it isn't always the most accessible Pokemon either, so in my opinion, this event is going to be a great time to finally get a good IV spread. I say that on a more personal level, but maybe some of you guys can relate as well. Now the XP bonus is nice, but again, nothing too crazy compared to some of the other methods we have in game. I wouldn't really recommend using Lucky Eggs during this Spotlight Hour, but if you do have time to grind, this would actually be a great time to practice your Excellent throws. So basically, in conclusion, I feel like we definitely had a fall off in content towards the end of April, and I feel like that trend kind of continued into May. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like a lot of the Pokemon featured during this month are just focused on PvP. We don't have that many crazy events outside of the Ultra Space Wonders event at the end of the month too. The Spotlight Hours are kind of mid, and same thing with the featured Shadow Legendary Pokemon this month. Like, yeah, we knew it was going to be Suicune, but still, it is kind of mid. So yeah, I don't know, guys. It doesn't seem that exciting to me. Let me know in the comment section down below if there's anything you're looking forward to specifically, though. As always, I'd love to hear your own opinions on this. And if you guys still want to check out some more content, I'm going to recommend these two videos right here. But before you go, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you all real soon in the next one.